Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone? We hope that you're ready with your pens and pads and going to take great notes. We're going to give you a lot of tips and tricks today to how credit works. I'm in the studio right now, Mary Brulette with Movement Mortgage and Atia Harris with Home Solutions Realty. She's the hostess with the mostest. We have a radio show that's on Sunday mornings for those of you in our local viewing area. It's on FM 100.5 and 103.3. That's WGIV. It's called Money Talk, Sunday mornings at 9:30. It's the best financial information in the entire nation. So, guys, tune in. We'd love for you to join us. Those of you who are live on Facebook and YouTube this morning, feel free to enter comments and questions into the chat. We'll get to as many of those as we can. Some of them we may save till the end. And Atia is going to give you an update on what's going on in the real estate world.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Happy New Year. I know we're getting started. Want to say that. Shout out to all the Aquarius out there. Just had a birthday. Happy birthday to you, my twins out there. Okay, so just want to let you guys know I've been exposed to some information lately, and you know that we always try to use the information that we come up with, to actually help people. So that's one reason why we're here today. I want to encourage you, as we do on the radio show, to get your pen and your pads ready to take notes, because Mary is going to go over the credit basics. And a lot of reason why we do this is because we want to empower people to be homeowners. Okay. Multiple homeowners, one homeowner, whatever tickles your fancy, duplex, triplex, fourplex. We want you to be in the property world. That's one of the greatest investments any family could do for themselves. And one of the sayings that I have this year, I come up with a saying. Last year it was, we have your keys with Home Solutions Realty. With the information I've been exposed to recently, it is lock in your payment. That's my motto for this whole year. Lock your payment in. And okay, so let me tell you, I feel like God's been trying to show me something, okay? The first thing that he showed me was I went to a builder. They had an event, top-notch builder in the area, extremely popular builder. And one of the things they were asking us is, where are most of the people now coming from that's located to this area? And come to find out, it's New York, New Jersey, and California. And if you know anything about New York, New Jersey, and California, property is sky high. So they're loving this property, all the people that are coming here from those major cities and other major cities as well. Okay, that are older cities. This to me is a younger city. That's why everything is like new. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Not knocking any of the other cities. They try to make sure it's clean. We got a few homeless people, not as much as other major cities. Okay, so at the end of the day, we are young, and people are attracted to the look that we have here. But not only that, in a second workshop that I was in with National Associations of Real Estate Brokers in Charlotte Crown, by God's grace, they had me sitting on their board for the second year. We had a meeting with an economist from Wells Fargo here. And the gentleman shared multiple statistics that actually made me change my business plan for this year. Okay. Number one, he said, now before we were told 50,000 families were coming here a year, right? Mm-hmm. So as of last year, in 2021, they estimated 89,000 new people came here. Well, I just told you where majority of them came from, right? 89,000 new people came here. All right. Then I saw another, and let me say before I move to the next statistic, that he also said the jobs are coming, the corporations are coming, and the higher pay is coming. The higher pay is here. I talked to a friend of mine. She got hired not too long ago, and she was making more money than she's probably made anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So don't sleep and say, hey, the money's not here to match what's going on with the housing market. Yes, it is. And that's why you see people buying properties all the time, and you still see constant building, and more corporations are coming. So this is a great place. This is one of the number one places in the whole nation right now for people to come to and live, and one of the top choices. So let's make this clear. So moving on to the next statistic I saw, I was playing around on my cell phone, my privacy phone. Shout out to Mark Gilowitz. And on what I saw was a statistic that in 2050, based on the current trend, 1.8 million more people will be here. Okay, let's think about that. The question was, what was not good about Charlotte? They went through all these statistics that was good about Charlotte. Then they were, talk about what wasn't good. And they said what wasn't good was the overcrowding, which I think they're working on right now. They already know they have to advance the transportation system. They are doing more multifamily housing than ever before. You see apartments going up like crazy, condos, more multi-units like ever before, which Mary can fund multi-unit projects. So I'm going to say that. And she has specific ones that she could do, but you can connect with her. And even as a first-time home buyer, we want to make it clear, you don't just have to buy a house. You could buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Okay. But that's not the workshop today. I just wanted to drop that seed on you. Based off of what I just said, people keep wondering, is the housing market going to crash? Okay. I want to remind you, in 2008, when there was a major crash, Charlotte was not as bad off as the rest of the nation. Shout out to our politicians. Okay. And based off of what I just told you, I'm a realtor. I'm a seasoned person, industry person, been in the industry over 30 years in other different areas as well. And based off of what I just told you, I don't see the housing pricing going down. Why would it? It doesn't make any sense to me. Something really, really major will have to happen, right, for this market to go down. We have all these people coming. They're continuing to come. They're not stopping to come. It's a newer city, in my opinion. It's developing. It's gorgeous. I mean, I would encourage you guys to look at their 10-year plan that they have. Like one of my realtors did that not too long ago, and he said that he saw where they were going to have 3 major areas that look like uptown in the city of Charlotte. Like, they plan on some major building here. So to me, that is equity in the property. Equity, equity, equity. Number one. Okay. But why is equity going into properties, more and more equity? That means the property prices are going up, for those of you that don't understand that. Okay. So that means that you've seen them already go up. And the ones that are from here don't like how they went up, because you were used to a brand new house for $150,000 and $130,000. Now that same house has doubled. Okay. But what I'm telling you is not going to stop, in my opinion. That's my professional opinion. So that's why my motto is for this year is to lock in your payment. I want you to take everything that Mary is saying serious today, because everybody has to start from the bottom or in the middle, wherever. But you have to start somewhere. And we're going from 0 to 100, which means we're going to have the victory, period. Okay. But I don't care where you are. I don't care where your credit is. I don't care if it's the worst credit on the planet. That's why we're here. If it's the best credit, great. We can roll with some great trinkets. Somebody just called me with the best credit. You know what I'm saying? If it's in the middle, whatever. We want you to have a desire. The other thing that we want is for you to hang in there. Like, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. It could take you 1 month. If you're not ready immediately, it could take you 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. It's like a thumbprint, what's going on with your credit. But I will tell you that we all say we're children of God, right? And I want to remind you that God has an inheritance, right? If you're his child, right? A parent's supposed to have an inheritance, right? I hope that I'm touching the minds of some parents here today, because you need to be having something for your kids, some life insurance, some other things. I am so sick and tired of each generation starting over from zero, from scratch, when all the tools are out there, or pointing a finger at someone that doesn't look like you and saying it's their fault. No, all the tools are here right now. You should have life insurance. You should have real estate. You should have investments. Everybody's talking about this cryptocurrency like crazy. Come on. The metaverse, all kind of stuff. You should be positioning yourself. Okay. So let's do that. That's why we're here. We've been in there. We've been in corporate America. We've been out of corporate America. Now we're in the business world, the entrepreneurial world. We've been here for years, years and years. And we want to help you do whatever your goal is. So today's workshop is credit. But do know that I'm not going to say this is a ministry, but this is the way that we tie back into the community. So whoever steps up for the help, that's who we're going to provide it to. And again, hang in there. Hang in there.
Exactly.
He has something for us. So I know I rambled on. And now Mary's going to take over, and she's going to go into the credit basics.
And, one thing that we're really big on, it's teaching you guys things that we learn along the way and giving you what's going on in the industries that we're in so that you always have the most current and best knowledge that's out there. It's all about empowering you to take control of your future. And shout out to all of you guys who are watching. I see Renee, Purposed Works, and Wilfred Lettybird. Thank you for tuning in. Guys, feel free to ask questions as we're going through today, but we're going to go through some ins and outs and things that they don't teach you about credit, starting with, what is credit? And credit is basically a snapshot of time. Whoops, we got a little ahead of ourselves. My PowerPoint's not cooperating, so I'm going to have to wing some of this. But it's a snapshot of where you are at a given time when someone's looking at your credit or when you're even looking at your credit. And it's like how you pay your bills, how you carry your balances, the types of accounts that you have, and everything going into one thing. And they propose a score based on what that whole thing looks like. And so the way that your credit is made up is you've got 30% of what you owe. This is your revolving credit. And a lot of times when I'm looking at credit and people are telling me, oh, my credit's low or I don't have a great score, it's not necessarily bad credit. It's just they're missing a piece of the boat or they don't understand how this portion actually works. So amounts owed is the part of the credit that you actually can control. That's your credit cards, your revolving credit. They assign you a limit, and based on how you're using that limit and paying that limit is how they are manipulating your score. And a lot of times, if you don't have that in your credit profile and we get that added into the credit profile, you immediately see an increase in the credit score. If you already have it and it's maxed out and we get you to pay it down, you see your score go up significantly. So we teach you how to work that piece of the puzzle. And when I'm teaching folks with credit cards, especially new credit cards, I'm always teaching them a 10% utilization. 30% is what you hear out there in the industry, and that's great when you have established credit cards. But when they're brand new, you want to get the most points that you can get. You have to trigger them to actually report, which means you do have to use it, but it's how you use it. So if you have a $1,000 limit, you don't spend more than $100. 10% of what your limit is the max that you want to put on there so that you're triggering them that they have to report you. And at the same time, you're getting the benefit of having the most points that they can give you in that period. And so if you think of it in this sense, let's just say Atia and I have the exact same credit profile and we each get that same card for $1,000. Atia puts hers in her pocket and she's like, this is for emergencies only. And she doesn't use the card. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that outfit's so cute. I'm going to have to go get that outfit. I need to get my hair done. I'm going to go see the nail person. And I end up spending $500 on my card. I ask you guys, who's going to get the points? It's not going to be me and it's not going to be Atia. It costs the bureaus or it costs your credit card companies $6 to $8 per bureau to update your credit report. So if they're not making money off of you, they're not going to update it. And me, on the other hand, I've got brand new credit and I've spent half of my limit. I can go either way. I can pay it on time. I can pay it off. I might keep going. I might go over the limit. I might pay late. So they're just going to sit back and see how I'm going to manage that for about 6 months before they decide to give me any points whatsoever. So that's a catch-22. So that's why I always teach people to do the 10% utilization. And let's keep it at that because, one, you're never going to get in trouble. And two, it's a great way to get the most points that you can get. The next portion of it, which is 35%, comes from your payment history. This is how you pay your accounts. Do you pay more than the minimum payment? Are you paying just the minimum payment? Do you pay on time? Have you ever paid late? And they factor all of these different things in to calculate that portion of your score, and that's huge. And then you're going to have 10% that's on the mix of credit. So do you have nothing but credit cards? Do you have nothing but installment type loans like cars or student loans or personal loans out there? Do you have a house in the mix? And so all of these things go in to calculating that portion of your credit. So it's always good to have a mixture of different accounts and not let it all wait on one. And Atia, they ask why? Why should we have a mix of credit?
Well, I guess they want to see how you're managing all types of credit because it's different. For credit card, you could charge on it, pay it down, some type of line of credit, a loan. They gave you the money and you just have to pay on it every month now. I believe that they just want to see what you're doing with different types of credit. And then also, I mean, you could have advanced to where you have that mortgage that we're talking about. A lot of people want that 800 credit score. I think it's hard to do without a mortgage
Mm-hmm.
based off of how they're doing it. So it's good to know, even though some of this stuff doesn't make sense to us, we have to understand how they're viewing it. I call it the credit game, and then know how to come in and give them the look that they want to see, basically.
Right. And it also leads into the 15% where you've got length of credit history.
Mm-hmm.
So if all you've got are student loans or personal loans, things that you're going to pay off cars at some point, once those accounts are closed, they're not going to keep reporting forever because what happens is they're no longer receiving money from you. So they're not going to pay to keep that account on there.
So this is a good point that Mary's making. Like, for example, someone recently have talked to us and several people. Hey, I got a car. I want to pay it off before, I buy my house. Okay, that's not good based off of the credit game. Mary can explain why.
It's not good because yes, you're paying it off early, but at the same time, you're paying it off. So it's no longer going to report and give you history. But if you've got a credit card, that's where you're going to get your like link to your credit file because you can keep that forever. If you take care of your credit card and manage it properly, even if you don't use it for a short period of time, it's going to hang out on there and it's going to stay open. And then it's going to keep building your history so that your credit file stays alive. But having that mix of credit that's in there, even though those things fall off, you can see the closed accounts that are on your credit and they'll sit there for a short period of time. Sometimes it's 7 years, sometimes it's 10 years. It just depends on what that account is. So it'll hang out to show that you did have that history at some point, and those credit cards are what's going to keep all of that profile alive. Mm-hmm. And then the last little piece is 10%. And that's your new credit. And this is where your inquiries and everything else start hitting your credit. So you don't want to go crazy and apply. People go shopping, especially at the holidays. Everybody's pushing, apply for my card. We're going to give you a discount. Is that discount worth the hit that you're going to take? And look at it in this way. Everybody's bought a car at some point in their life, and you go to the dealership when you don't know any better, and you fill out the paperwork. And how many places they send it to you?
Like 20
different places. 20 places, each of those places pulling on your credit. Mm-hmm. And that is 5 to 10 points per hit that you guys are getting going shopping for the car. So when you got that 700 credit score and you're going in there, and all of a sudden you look at your credit the next day and you're like, oh my goodness, what happened here? It's that car shopping.
So I want to piggyback off of what Mary's saying. So in an instance like that, you definitely, it would be, by you doing this and you bringing your credit up to par or even better, you can actually go into your credit union. I find them having, great car loans and then get a paper. It makes you the king or queen walking in the dealership. Mm-hmm. And, I did this not too long ago, and then they always want to fight for your business because they make money that way as well. And one thing you have to say is, do not send my credit and pull my credit all over the place. Hone into one person, and let's see if you can beat, what these people are giving me, the credit union or the bank. I go to the credit union, but let's see if you can beat it. But don't send me all over the place because, like she said, they tell you that inquiries don't hurt if you just go to the car place within a certain amount of time. If you go from loan officer to loan officer for a mortgage loan, they tell you that. But as a person in the experience, I've seen it hurt. So now, can you fix that? Yeah, that's a credit repair debate with the credit bureau. Hey, I went to all these, it was all these car places. It was all these loan places, and you dropped my score. Okay, we don't want to have that extra debate. That's what we're telling you. If you have to do it, you have to do it, but we don't want to. But keep that in mind. And, with the credit cards, I want to make this comment and see what Mary's opinion is. So I had another housing class years ago, the lady teaching told us, you know, with this credit, they're judging you. And I know a lot of guys don't like that and people don't like that, but they are judging you, right? So basically what she told us is just get all your credit cards from banking institutions so they can't figure you out and they have to give you the highest points, which is what I've done. That's where all my credit cards are. So basically, I hate to say this, but I don't want to get sued, but when you go to a place, the name starts with a W, everybody shops at all the time, and you get a credit card, you know, or you going to buy some supplies for your house and you get a credit card, you know, according to her, these are not maximizing the points for you, you know. But if you go to Nordstrom's and get a credit card, oh, this person likes to spend, they must have some money. They're trying to judge you. So you'll get more points with a Nordstrom credit card than you would with the W credit card, is what I'm trying to say, or the S credit card, which is the clothing store appliance place. You guys know what I'm talking about. So basically, to stay neutral, it's the bank credit card. It's the credit union credit card. And so that's where I'm at. So I will tell you, my credit is excellent by God's grace and has been for years in marriage as well. That's, you know, so we're trying to get you guys in the same position, but it's going to take tips and tips and tips. That's why we're here today.
Well, you know, the different stores, they want you to apply for their card. One, that's how they make money. And I've actually talked to several people that worked over in the mall, and they were telling me that they get written up and they can get fired if they don't have like so many applications each week coming in, because they're really pushing to get that kickback from the cards. But the thing is let's say you get Banana Republic. We'll use them. You can only shop at Banana Republic. So what if you don't need anything from Banana Republic? That card's not going to do you any good. So having that bank card, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, that you can use anywhere, that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, because you can use that card anywhere. So you may not need a new shirt, but, you know, we always need gas. You can use it for a tank of gas or, you know, a loaf of bread, just something that has that card reporting. So I always tell people to try to steer clear. And, you know, they try to entice you in with store cards, because if they're going to get a little kickback, they give you a little something to make it feel good. You know, I'm going to save you 15% today. Do you want to apply for this card, Tia?
No.
Because by the time you pay the interest on it, you paid more than that 15%.
No, because we want 800 credit scores, guys. We want high 700 credit scores. I'm not saying you can't get it with those type of cards, but we're trying to get you there as fast as we can.
Exactly. And then one other thing on credit cards, since 30% of your score is made up of your revolving credit that you can control, just keep in mind, one credit card, it all sits in one basket. So all of that 30% is in one basket. But then you get two cards, it's going to be 15% and 15%. Three cards, it's 10, 10, and 10. So the more cards you have, the less that piece of the puzzle is going to work for you, because you're spreading it across too many layers. So typically 1 to 2 credit cards is all that you should need, unless you have a boatload of like installment type accounts and you're trying to break up that mix just a little bit. So just a little tip.
I've seen that before. A gentleman came to me years ago, and he had a ton of credit cards, and all of them had charges on them, and they were paid well. And hey, he was a sugar daddy. Mama was spending it up. He had to take care of mama, and it was going on the credit cards. And his credit scores was in the 500 range. And we're looking at all these accounts that are paid perfect. But the conclusion that my compadres came up with is that someone in that situation is a potential bankruptcy risk. Okay. So what happens is, even though you're managing the credit, you're paying it well, you're doing what you're supposed to do, they're going to possibly lower your credit score so that you can get no more credit, no more, because they feel like you have too much. Again, they're judging you. So if you look at your credit report, we're going to encourage everyone to do that at least one time. You actually see a lot of you, they have your job, your employer listed there, or the type of work you're in listed there. This is how bad these people are judging us, you know? So they must have saw what they felt like he was, saw the credit, and they was like, okay, this is too much going on for this man. Right. To me, he should have had the best score. the best. But again, we're in the credit game.
Right. And so that's why it's important to know how credit works so that you can work the game for you instead of the game working you for it. And I totally lost my train of thought. There was one thing I was going to tell them about credit cards and I totally forgot. We'll come back to that part. But,
okay.
Things that you can do, guys, because, things that are going to affect your score are going to be, right now, everything's on the internet. We've got, all kinds of identity theft going on, cyber theft. You go to the gas pump and you get hacked.
That's happened to me.
It's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
And then it's also the late payments coming in because of where we are in the economy right now. People are still struggling a little bit. Things are not fully open, back online. People are not back to their jobs fully. So late payments come in, and all of these go into play that affect our score. And then you've got, jobs that don't want to give you raises. Income stays the same, debts get higher and higher. And with all the shutdowns and everything, all of the costs have gone exponential because supplies are running low right now. And so these are all things that come into play when we're trying to figure out how to budget and make things work for us. And it results in us having to pay for it and having to have, higher interest rates. You're getting denied for different types of credit where it used to be easy. And then people are getting to where they're just like, oh, I can't qualify for anything. I can't do anything. And even when we get people who call us from the radio show or that we meet out in public and we're talking to them about even buying a house, they think that they just can't do it because they've given up on everything. And so it's kind of like our little joke, but we end up ministering more in our offices than we do in church on Sunday because we have to pick people back up and let them know that there are things that they can do and there is hope out there. And then we start teaching them one-on-one the things that you guys are learning right now. Simple things that you can do is review your credit. Everybody in the world has Credit Karma out there. Credit Karma is not going to be your credit score that a lender is going to see. It's not 100% accurate, but what it is a great tool to see how you're managing your credit. Is it going up or down? So I went out and I spent $100 on my credit card. My score just dropped because I'm changing that utilization. But when I go and make the payment and I pay $200, even though I just spent only $100, then I'm bringing that balance down and I paid more than what the payment was going to be. My score goes up. So I can learn, watching Credit Karma and seeing how my thing's going. So I tell everybody, you've heard of LifeLock. That's like your identity theft protection. Think of Credit Karma as LifeLock with a credit score attached to it so that you can gauge how you're doing. And it also has monitoring like the LifeLock that's free. So it makes it a great tool for you to get alerts and know what's going on with your credit. If anyone's checking your credit that shouldn't be checking your credit, if anyone's opening things that you didn't apply for. And, if nothing else, it's got all of your personal information. Atia was talking about job history, jobs and, all these different addresses. And there's nothing like sitting down with your lender and we're going through your credit one-on-one and tweaking things. And you're going, what is that? I've never lived there. What's that address? So always review your credit because reviewing for inaccuracies and fixing those things can give you upwards of 77 points. So in the immediate, I've had people see 10-point increases. I've had them 25 points, depending on what's on there. But you have the right to fix inaccurate things that are on your credit. And that includes addresses, spellings of your name, and jobs. And the cleaner that you can keep that portion, the stronger your profile is because it's not like you're moving all over the board. So I've got the different fax numbers up here. The bureaus don't like to receive the faxes, but those numbers are out there. And you can actually go online to each of the different bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. You can create logins to each of those sites, and they've got disputes right on the screen there, and you just hit what's inaccurate and ask them to fix it. If they give you pushback, because sometimes, I've tried going online myself and fixing my addresses and work history, and they're telling me I don't have the authority to remove those things. And yes, I do. So then I just send them a nice nastygram via fax and certified mail, and it magically comes off of there. And then I get my points back for fixing the things that were incorrect. So that's just a quick, easy thing. Another one that Atia loves is the opt-out pre-screen, and that gives you about 10 points also. Do the 5-year opt-out, and immediately you stop receiving all the junk solicitations, and you get the 10 points because they're not doing those soft pull inquiries in the background. If you need to fax the credit bureaus, this is a fax site that I've used. It gives you an actual number, and you can send everything through. When things come back to you, it comes into your email address. And so it's just a free way to have a fax. If you can scan or take a picture on your phone, you can use this service. And then we talked a little bit about utilization earlier. So this is the example that we were talking about, how much money you're spending and who gets the points. Keeping your utilization down, just not to zero on those credit cards, it's going to give you a lot of points. And if you're just starting out with credit or you're rebuilding credit, a secured card is a fantastic way to rebuild. You're not risking anything to the bank because you're actually giving them the deposit that's going to become your credit limit. And then it's how you use it. And again, if you're keeping it at that 10% utilization and letting it ride till the bill comes in, make the payment and repeat, it's going to update that you're using the credit. You're not living on it. You get the maximum points, and you get the immediate benefit of seeing that added to your credit score. And so I can't say enough about it. And there's a lot of companies out there that do them, but this particular company is Credit Builder Card. They work with First Progress. First Progress directly will only update once a month, just like all of your other creditors. But going through the Credit Builder Card, they've done an agreement with First Progress that if they send people through their link to First Progress, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it, just the normal setup for getting that secured card, then you are actually going to get the benefit of having them update your credit profile 6 times a month. So if you get the $200 card and you have it in your hand, you get it activated 6 times a month, it's going to update your credit profile. One other thing that I'll tell you about all secured cards is they're going to have an annual fee, and that annual fee will hit your first bill. What you do not want is one of those cards where they say, oh, you've got a $500 initial limit, and we're going to charge you this service fee of, $200, and then there's an annual fee. That is not a secured card. That is a junk card. And those are the cards that usually have servicing overseas where you can't get someone on the phone who's going to help you, and they don't speak very good English. Stay away from those cards. The secured cards, you're going to give a deposit. That deposit becomes your limit, and there's only the annual fee that's usually $29 or less. It will hit your first bill, so when you activate it, just write it out so the bill comes in, let them report, pay that, then go get $20 of something, wait for the next bill. And that way you're getting the maximum. People are always asking, where can I get my actual credit score? And there's a lot of things out there. So Smart Credit's actually powered by TransUnion. So just like Credit Karma is going to give you a Vantage score, but you get all 3, where Credit Karma is going to give you 2. Vantage scores are not your actual, it's your consumer education score. If you want your actual FICO score, Experian.com is the only one that has the FICO score of the 3 bureaus out there. The other 2 are going to give you the Vantage scoring. The free score that they show you is going to be what they call a FICO 8. There's about 30 different FICO scores, and they all correspond to different parts of the industry. FICO 8 is when you apply for a credit card. That's the score that the banks see. So those of you that have like Wells Fargo or Capital One or Bank of America, where they're telling you, with the card, see your score, that's the FICO 8 score that you're actually getting. For a mortgage pull, we're looking at your FICO 542, which corresponds to each individual bureau. And we take whichever number is in the middle. So your 5 would be your Experian, your 4 would be TransUnion, and 2 Equifax. And so we're actually pulling all 3 of those and seeing which one. Your FICO 9 or your FICO 10, which is the newer one that's come out, would be your car pull. When you go to the car lots and they're pulling your credit, that's what they're looking at to tell you whether you can qualify and what program you can qualify for. And then it just goes on and on from there. So Experian.com, it's a great site. It's like pretty much dead on to what the lender's going to see when we pull credit. So if you want the accurate one, start there. And then one thing that I do like, if you do use like Identity IQ or Smart Credit, one of the paid ones, is they will actually do alerts. You get text and email alerts. And it's actually saved me because, like Atia said, she got hacked at the gas station. My husband travels a lot. He's gotten scanned at the airport, and it affected everything that was tied to his account. So all the way down to where we have a joint account that we share transfers back and forth. They wiped us completely out. So I set up a service just for myself where I could add in my bank accounts as well. Anything that hits it's over a $50 mark, they're going to send me a notification within 30 seconds. I get a text and an email to let me know what's come through and who it's come from. So if it's not mine, I know that I can reach out and say, hey, let's put a hold on my card. And then they start working on it for me so I don't lose all my money again. There are a lot of companies out there that will tell you, hey, you've got bad credit, we can help, we can magically erase it. There is no magic erase. There's no crystal ball that tells them exactly what they can and can't get off. However, under the law, you have the right to remove anything that is inaccurate that's reporting. And there are certain laws in place because the burden of proof falls on top of your actual creditors to say, hey, you know what? I see that you've got this repossession on my credit. Can you prove to me that I owe this money? Can you send me proof of where I opened this account, the VIN, make, and model of the car that I supposedly bought, my entire payment history? Can you send me a notice of where this went into default and you were supposed to notify me before you picked up the car? If any of those steps are missed and they can't provide it, then it has to come off of your credit because they haven't done their due diligence to have all of this documented. And if anything's missing and it's not fully documentable, it's inaccurate and it has to come off of your credit. But a lot of the companies out there that tell you they're going to repair your credit, and there's one that starts with an L that people go to quite frequently because they think they're actually dealing with attorneys when they're not. They're probably the most expensive of all the credit repair out there. And all they're going to do is blanket dispute everything and say it's not mine, which becomes frivolous to the credit bureaus and they just discount it. What you need is to actually either do the letters yourself and ask them to not use eOscar, which is their electronic verification system. And when I'm teaching people how to do things and send out letters, one, you always want to send them certified. That way you've got the receipt of when they receive it and that ticker starts. But let's just say I give you my laptop and I wipe everything personal off of my laptop. If you were a hacker, you could go into the heart of the computer and find out everything I've ever had on there, every account, every password, everything I've ever done on this computer, because it's still stored in the ghost memory that's in that mainframe. Your credit works the same way. So when you're talking to Experian and Equifax and TransUnion, they're just information providers. They're not the ones who are actually collecting all this data. They're just reporting it. Where does your data come from? It comes from LexisNexis, StageStream, CoreLogic. There's about 12 different entities out there that have that information. So if you blanket dispute something, it's not mine, and you're hoping it's going to fall off, they're going to go to the mainframe and verify, oh, yeah, it's right here. It stays. We verified it. But if you ask them for the burden of proof, prove to me that this is my account, prove to me that I signed for this and asked for this, or I defaulted on this, and they can't prove it, and you're telling them not to use eOscar or any electronic means, but to actually send you solid proof that this is yours, then they have to go directly to that creditor that's listing it on your report. And if it's been sold from the original creditor 9 out of 10 times, they don't have all of those documents. They're just buying a package of debts that they're trying to collect on. Also, one other tidbit that I learned recently that I'll share with you is if you've got a charge off on your credit report with a past due balance that is not your original creditor listing it, that's against the law. So that immediately comes off. When a company buys your debt from somebody and it's a charged off account, they can only list the balance that's owed. They cannot list that you're still past due. So just some quick little tidbits to kind of help you guys. There are a few reputable companies out there. You can always message me and Atia, and we'll be happy to get you connected if you need someone to actually help you with that. But hopefully you've learned enough today to kind of maneuver the system just a little bit and make it work for you and not end up in that situation. We also have a book that, it's all the information that we've put together over the years, and everything from the stuff that we just taught on credit today to taxes and financial benefits for your whole future. There's also some things that were tested and tried out by us that if you need some cash flow quickly, or, a little bit of extra here and there, some different ways that you can do that, and some resources to even work from home. One other thing that I would like to leave you with, because this is something that I recently found out about and it's powerful, is Tia had talked about ways of building wealth, and she had mentioned insurance. There is a form of insurance out there, guys, life insurance. We've all been taught whole life and we've been taught term, but there's something that's greater than both of those. It's like a 401k or an IRA on steroids. You can put money in and it grows according to what the S&P 500 is doing, which is what the stock market's tied to. The only difference is when the stock market tanks, your money is still protected. So there are times where you're making, upwards of 12, 13%, and it's all in life insurance. So one thing to think of is there's 3 tax buckets out there. There's a tax me now, tax me later, and a tax me never. Tax me now is you go to work for a company, they give you a paycheck, and when you get that paycheck, you're looking at it and Uncle Sam's taking his share out of it. That's tax me now. Tax me later is your 401k and your IRA. And when you're setting those up, guys, you're setting up, where's my camera? You're setting up like this amount. And then as time goes, it's growing. And when you go to take out that, you're being taxed on the growth on the entire amount. Also, if you're younger than 59 and a half and you take the money out, as sometimes we take it out to purchase homes and other things that we need in life, or, pay for college for our kids, you get penalized for being too young to use your money. In the insurance world, it's a tax me never bucket. And so that money grows on steroids. You can pull from it to purchase your home. You can pull from it to put your kids through college or pay off debt. It's your money. People will actually use it and grow it and retire off of it because Social Security barely gives you enough to breathe on. And so just a little tidbit that's out there. It gives you death benefit. It gives you living benefits. For me, that's what was important, because when I was in the hospital and my healthcare said, oh, we're not going to cover all of that, and I was stuck with a $40,000 bill, it was something that I had at my fingertips that I could actually pull from and have the extra money to make sure that I got the care that I needed as well. So I learned different things. I like to share it with you guys. If you're interested in learning more about it, just reach out to me or Atia and we'll get you connected. and hopefully you guys learned a lot today. This is our phone numbers. You can call and text either one of us. The first number, 704-507-3893, is my number. 704-287-9749. That is the Tia's number, and we would love to connect with you and talk a little more one-on-one. Thank you guys for joining in, for all the wonderful comments. We hope that you all learned something today, and if we can help enhance your future in any way, just let us know. And anybody in the greater Charlotte area, we have a radio show. It airs every Sunday morning, so we'll be live tomorrow. 100.3 100.5, 1033 FM, 9:30 Sunday mornings, Money Talk Radio.